Running planks are done with your elbows bent, and you want to make sure you're in line with your back of your head, your mid-back, and your tailbone. And you can use a dowel or a foam roller to make sure your posture is good. So elbows and toes, make sure your elbows are right underneath your shoulders. For now, you can challenge yourself, after you get strong by moving your elbows away. But to start, let's have straight arms. You can think about you're on your aero bars and your bike, even though this is a run specific video, right? So my goal is to challenge myself in my plank. It's great to be able to hold it for 5 minutes, but that doesn't really apply to any kind of sport, right? So this is called the 3D plank. So I'm going forward and back, moving forward and back, really engaging my quads, my glutes, as well as my abdominals. Side to side. Notice I'm not letting one hip drop on these. Rotationally, right? Imagine I'm on a skewer, my hip is dropping, but I'm staying straight. And then this is called a dolphin in yoga, but really focusing on drawing my belly button in as I go flat. So after you get strong with your plank, with your feet on the ground and your elbows on the ground, you can always regress if you need to and go on your knees, okay? So let me just show you that one real quick. So this would be the knee version of the same thing. But again, I want my hip and the back of my head and between my shoulder blades to all be in a straight line. And I can still do all those things that we did a minute ago, right? Forward and back, up and flat. That's a regression. So a more advanced plank would be if I lifted up one leg and then the other, right? So super straight legs, making sure my glutes are firing, my hips are extending, tapping out to the side, and even lifting one elbow off the ground and then the other, and then trying for both at the same time, opposite arm and leg, and even reaching out if you can. And when I'm doing these planks, I like to imagine I have a glass of red wine on my low back and I'm on a red carpet. So there can be no instability in my hips. They have to be stable, no matter that my arms and my legs are moving. Okay, side plank, super important. Every time you foot strike, if your obliques and your hips and your glute medius is not strong, you're gonna give away some energy and some power with every foot strike when you're running. So line up your knees with your hips, with your shoulders, okay? My feet are behind me, like 90 degrees. So we're gonna go up with my arm in the air, good posture, neutral spine, and we're gonna go up and down. This is a progressive. That feels easy. You can add opening your knees apart. But imagine that your hips are sliding up and down a pole. I'm not moving front or back. I'm going straight up and down, adding my top leg lift, okay? The next progression would be a straight leg on top. And I keep my arm up in the air just to keep my good posture. So here's the progression, and then bringing my knee into the chest. Really good posture. And then the next progression would be straight legs. So when you do a plank, make sure you're not on your shin. This is incorrect, okay? You wanna be on your foot, the side of your foot, so that your glutes fire, okay? This is really, really important. So this is what you'd start with, being able to hold this position for 45 seconds. Now you could do a hip tap to make it harder. Okay, so the next progression would be your top knee coming into your chest and imagining your foot striking with that midfoot. Notice my hips are not going up and down here. They're nice and strong. And then you don't want to forget about your adductor, right? The big muscle that's on the inside of your thigh. So you want to do this one as well. Just switch legs. Now the top leg is supporting me, okay? So again, I'm going to reach for the sky, use my core to lift up, and now my bottom knee is coming into my chest. Make sure you're super straight on this one. Don't let your butt go back behind you, and make sure your adductor is doing the work. This big muscle right there. Okay, 3D planks, right? So we're moving in all directions to make sure we're strong in all directions, even though running is all about forward motion. So reverse planks, we've gone face down, we've gone on our sides, and now we're gonna go on our back. So So elbows are bent, feet are up in the air, toes are up, and your big toes, you want to keep them as close together as possible. Okay, and then from here, squeeze the glutes and lift. This might be all you've got, right? If this is it, great. Try to hold it for a minute. If you want to make it harder, you can tap, go up and down and tap, but make sure you're squeezing your glutes and your toes are not coming apart, okay? So the next progression would be lifting one foot up and then the other. Not letting your hips drop, right? Make sure you imagine that glass of red wine and your hips are not tilting side to side. You can also challenge yourself, side to side, up and down and rotationally in this position. So it would look like this. We did the up and down, and then here would be side to side and then rotationally. Trying to keep your feet as straight as possible.